Hey guys, we're getting ready to start. Wanting to make sure the link works real quick. Hey guys, we're getting ready to start. Oh, I need to learn to mute.
Got the link this time.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I'm not going to worry about it. Hey, mute YouTube, please.
Wait, I gotta mute us. Where are we here? Link this time. Okay, it's muted.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wine Wednesday with the Whisperer. Sipping on some Moscato tonight, taking it easy, being calm, smooth, cool, and collected. Hope you're having a fabulous night. We had some issues last week, so hopefully we won't this week. Everybody give a shout out on YouTube and on Facebook. Let me know you can hear us, see us, and you're part of the conversation. And let me know how you guys are all doing. I've been crazy running, but Thanksgiving tomorrow and all, you know. Um, Mr. Ray has joined me already. So hello, Ray. How are you?
Oh, just frustrated.
Uh-oh. What are you frustrated about?
After last week, had a problem with my computer froze up on me.
Oh no.
Uh, I ended up having to turn it off and then trying to start it again. Wouldn't start again.
Oh geez. Did you?
Eventually, it did start again, but it was the next day into the evening and on Thursday. And so I took it into the computer shop on Friday, spent some money there, and he didn't find anything. So I bring it home. I go along until this morning. Bingo, quits again.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad
But
it's
this time I managed to get it started again afterwards. Um, and now when I got started, I was back. I went on to Facebook again, which is what I was on originally
right.
when it screwed up. And then I found that it was working for a bit, and all of a sudden, I'd click on something, and it's getting very, very, very slow. Is usually the precursor to it seizing up. So I immediately tried to what do you call it? Exit out, quit it,
Right.
and it wouldn't quit.
Oh geez.
And so I clicked on the bottom to load up Firefox. The Firefox was working good. So I
Hmm.
think that the problem is in the either something to do with Facebook, because every time it happens, I'm on Facebook, or it has something to do with Google Chrome.
It could be. I've had a lot of issues with Chrome myself lately, and like last week we had all the trouble because they keep passing laws, and they probably send emails, but we've already discussed that Kelly isn't great with emails, and so I can't keep up with all the changes half the time. Half the time they want you to click something simple, but if I don't know about it, so I wonder if Facebook's got some new rule or something. I don't know.
Anybody like that?
Hmm. Well, might be time for a new computer. I know that sucks.
You
I
get
hate
lots of
that.
sex ones.
You what?
I get lots of sex emails.
Hey, can't
They
beat
want
that,
me
I
to buy
suppose.
blue tablets, whatever they are. At 76, what am I going to do with blue tablets?
Right? I do hear you. And I want to say hi. I see the comments. I'm having to jump back and forth again. For some reason, it's not showing me the comments within the app, but we'll work on that next week. But hi, Sam. Hi, Mermaid's Reef. Hey, Larry Clark. I did get some new stickers, but I forgot to grab them before I started. So I'll show you guys next week. But thank you for everyone sending me stickers. My collection is growing. You guys still haven't told me what to do with all of them, so we're going to have that chat later. But anyways, we've discussed Ray's computer issues, which suck. Are you doing anything huge tomorrow, Ray?
Hopefully, I'll pick up a pair of glasses. garage was in today to get new lenses put in, and they
Gotcha.
said they should be back tomorrow. So other than that, oh, tomorrow's Thursday. I got to go out because the grocery sales start tomorrow, and you got to get the stuff right off the bat or it's gone.
Well, the reason the sales start tomorrow is because over hither it's Thanksgiving, and
Yeah,
so
well, we already did that a month ago.
well, I'm going with family, and I'm going to have a fabulous dinner and thankful day. So what is everybody in the audience? Anyone who's celebrating Thanksgiving, let me know what your plans are. Hey, actually, let me know what you're doing with the seahorses if you have to go out of town. We've had lots of discussions about what to do on vacations, and lots of different advice and so I'm just curious what you guys do if you have to go out of town to visit family. A few days is a lot different than than a huge like week long trip or anything for sure. But anyways, so last week, Ray, I rushed in, so I of course don't have it ready, but yeah, I do. Last week I noticed that Lisa, I believe, posted in Seahorse Source Group a link to how they're using probiotics to deal with the Florida Reef um, stuff. Have you heard anything about this? Do you know anything about what I'm talking about?
You with the what stuff?
The Florida Reef. Hang on, I'm pulling up the article. So apparently, and I know that
I didn't know about that.
yeah, apparently I already knew because there's this Florida Reef issue, and there's a bunch of different articles about it. And Paula Carlson talked about it at the Women in Reefing event at MACNA this past year. But she posted this article, and I thought it was really cool. And it's talking about, and I will link the article, or actually I'll link it through the group even. But it's talking about how probiotics are a key to the slow spread of Florida's devastating coral disease. So apparently, there's this coral disease that's just wreaking havoc. They say it's the most extensive coral disease ever, and it's basically stony corals, but so like already a lot of places in Florida is mainly like gorgonians and such, but apparently the places that do have the stony corals are having all this devastation. I was hoping to reach Paula and get her to jump in, but I was not able to.
What's going on here?
They say it's the most extensive coral disease ever. Oh, you get it? Mute, mute, mute. Figured out? Okay. Anyhow, so I'm just anybody in the audience because I'm not well versed in this subject. I was like I said, I was hoping to have somebody jump in and come talk about it. And if Dan jumps in, well, I will definitely
How
ask
do they keep it
his.
contained in the area that's needed?
What was it?
How do you keep the probiotics contained in the area where it's needed?
Well, that's one of the issues. Let me see if I can find it. And like I said, guys, I will link this article. I'm not going to sit here and read it to you, but it was really a very good article, and that was one of the concerns is how to place it where it's needed and keep it there. And actually, let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Um, the article says that they've talked to a researcher who's having success spreading antibiotics on certain corals, and it's stopping there. But looking at how probiotics might impact the coral disease is apparently a much better option for the things that we're discussing because they're beneficial microorganisms instead of that antibiotic crap, which can cause even more problems down the road. We've talked about many times. So anyhow, I don't really know how they're keeping it in one place, and I know that that's the problem. That's why I was hoping people would have some thoughts on it. But if you haven't read the article, that's not going to help us. So I'm going to check comments real quick. Anybody read the article? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Oh, we're still talking about filling our bellies and then off to sales. I hear you. Well, I will actually. You know what? I'll put it in here in case anybody wants to check it out right away. Well, no, I won't. I'm lying. I can't do it both ways. But I will put the article in there in the comments after I'm done, after we're done tonight, and definitely check it out. It is in Seahorse Sources group, and I believe in Lisa's new group too, the link to the article. But it was just really interesting to me because, Ray, it's not surprising that you didn't know much about the problems in Florida because it's not like if somebody hadn't told me I wouldn't know either. And that's really kind of scary, that we're so involved with seahorses, coral, etc. And yet there's this devastating thing going on and we don't even know it. Kind of scary. But, and I also think, like I said, I hope Dan jumps in. Dan, if you're listening, please come in. We'd love to hear your thoughts, because I know that Dan is the one that talked to me and educated me about using probiotics in aquariums. And so now that they're using on a huge, much wider scale, I'm curious to hear his thoughts. But of course, I didn't message him before we started. So smart. But I'm sure he'll comment later if he doesn't. But do you read a lot of articles like these, Ray? Do you hear anything about them trying things that?
I don't hear that much about that. I read a lot about things that are affected by the global warming, but unfortunately, we have so many of our governments that are against it. Um, like there's people that just plain deny it, and it's frustrating when you look at. I can't say 100% of scientists are believe in it, but I would say probably the greatest majority, and not just by a little, by a long shot, are believers of global warming. If we can't believe these guys that have the expertise to know whether it actually is or not, who the hell can we believe?
Right, truth. And now I'm
We got
curious.
politicians up here, same as down there. They're sitting there saying, "Well, look at we've got all this cold weather here now. How can it be global warming?" You know, they got one excuse after another why they don't believe in it, but it just ticks me off.
Well, I'm curious, Ray. What do you, when you say global warming? What do you mean by that? Because I've read quite a few articles too, and I'm not sure exactly what my opinion is. But what do you consider is
Global
happening?
warming is where the overall worldwide temperature is gradually increasing
Mm-hmm.
um, from decades ago to what it is now. It's increasing ocean temperatures. Um, there are land temperatures increasing, but these people that keep on saying, well, we got all this extreme cold now. Well, they've got it, and they're getting all these storms and everything because of the global warming. For instance, over the ocean waters that are getting warmer, that affects the current flow. It affects uh, storms that develop over those warmer waters. Um, and I'm not qualified to sit and talk about it like a
Right.
proper scientist is, but I accept the fact that what they're telling me is true, and it makes sense to me from my education point
Mm-hmm.
that the cold isn't we're cold because of global warming, not because it isn't global warming.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Well, I think a better question to have asked would be, do you think it's truly something? I guess the major thing that I see that's up for debate is whether or not it's, furthered along that much by humans, and whether or not we could truly control it, or if this is a cycle thing that's going to happen no matter what we do. No thoughts?
we can make it better.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think anybody can say 100% for sure that we can totally stop it. Excuse me. But if we don't try, we certainly aren't going to get it any better.
well,
And
yeah. Go ahead.
even if we can't perfect it, if we can get it closer, then it means the world's got that much longer to survive. And when you think of all these lowlands, not just in the U.S. but around the world, that are getting inundated now with water levels because the ocean levels are rising.
Hmm.
You get all that ice thawing, it's got to go somewhere.
Sure. I mean,
As
and
we
I very much agree with your first point that, even if it's not something that we can control, or even if it's not as bad as they say, doing nothing isn't a response. If we see there's a problem, we should definitely at least do our small parts to try to fix it. I don't have much to say to the governments. They have to. I don't know. I just give up on governments. But anyways, we should all, care about our carbon footprint, and absolutely I agree with you that doing nothing is not going to work. We've read so many articles about how this is affecting the ocean and how it's going to affect us. I read a really fascinating.
Certainly can't depend on politicians to fix it because they don't give a damn about anybody but themselves.
That's true. And I mean, to be fair, I think in my personal opinion, what's ruined it is that so many have used it, even politicians and other have used global warming or climate change to, as a talking point and as a money raiser without actually doing anything. That's kind of what
That's
drops the
fraud.
ball. But, again, as you said, there's no point, you can't not do anything. I read a really great article quite a bit ago about seahorses and how they would be affected. About with, I can't talk tonight. About seahorses and how they would be affected by the rising temperatures in the ocean, by ocean acidification. It was really interesting. Lots of different thoughts on where that will go, but yeah, it's kind of hard unless to talk about it unless you read the article. And just to jump back real quick, I know we jumped into global warming, like we talk about some serious topics here. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to have somebody in here who could give us their scientific opinion. Guys, we are not scientists. We're just conversating. It's Wine Wednesday. So jump in with your thoughts, or if you want to talk about something else, let us know for sure. We're just talking. But I did want to mention from this article because I was kind of peeking while we were chatting, and you had asked about antibiotics and the difference and how they're keeping it contained. I didn't find how they're keeping it contained, but apparently it wouldn't matter because
Yeah.
it says that probiotics are just beneficial microorganisms, and the main difference is the main difference between probiotics and antibiotics is the same thing as it is when you're talking about humans. Antibiotics taken when you get sick will treat the pathogen directly, but you have to keep taking doses, and you have to, with the spread of antibiotic resistant bacteria, is with that as a threat, you got to limit the amount you use, and it's the same thing with the ocean. So this is an alternative where they're just using these. See, now I lost my place. Where they're just using these beneficial little microorganisms, which won't hurt anything if it does spread. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just a kind of a good thing all the way around. Um, yeah. So, anyways, like I said, I'll link the article. I was just peeking, and I thought that, yeah, it just sounds like a really good idea, and I'm so curious to see if it will work and if it will help, because the Florida Reef is in serious trouble, and not many people even realize it. So, and guys in the audience, if you've read any articles about the Florida Reef or anything that's going on, let me know. I know there's a lot of good articles out there, so share with us. But anyways, since nobody's jumping on the topic, Ray, what else is going on with you?
Hmm. Nothing else that I'm aware of.
The seahorses are all good and happy and
Oh,
happening.
yeah. Yep. They they don't seem to change at all. They just keep on going.
I know, right? It's kind of hard
As long
when
as I keep doing my cleaning and feeding. Hmm.
we've kind of covered all the topics and all of our seahorses are doing pretty good. I have noticed I have noticed in the groups that a lot of people are becoming very successful with breeding fry. Have you noticed that?
Breeding which?
Fry, it just in general.
Why? Oh,
Not I should raising fry, rearing fry, sorry.
yeah. Well, it's a case once you get the touch and get that over with, then after that, you're away to the ballpark.
Right. I mean,
It
I
took me a long time to be successful, and then once I was successful, I was having so many seahorses that it was hard to get rid of them all.
right, right. I no, I hear you, and I'm curious too. I may try to reach out to some of the people that are having success, see if they want to come and jump in and talk about their experience, because you know, I just one of the reasons that I didn't go further with it is what exactly what you're talking about is that we already have the large scale breeders doing their thing, and then for the smaller breeders, obviously there's the places that are close that'll buy them, and you can sell them on, well, not sell them online anymore in many places, but you know what I'm saying. There's a business there, but I'm just wondering if it becomes successful small scale. I'm really curious
But see,
because
around here, the biggest problem is we don't have the same kind of population densities that you have there.
right. Meaning, wait, what do you mean?
Well, there's more people in California than there is in Canada.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean that makes sense.
I
So
think
there's just not as many
we've
people to
probably got
buy.
33 or 34 million people in Canada. And I think California's got at least that.
Sure. No, I'm sure you're right. Um, I'd be curious actually to know which areas are interested in, actually deal with seahorses a lot. I'd be really curious to know that. Um, but because a lot of the people that are finding success, which is really, frankly, amazing to me, are people who are in like in Minnesota and Indiana and in places where it wouldn't, be a naturally, they're not close to the ocean. They're landlocked. So it's interesting that the resources are now available, the information's available, and people are just becoming successful. It's really, really quite fascinating to me. But anyways,
Well, things have sure changed since I first started in 2002.
right.
I didn't actually get the seahorses in 2002. I started learning what I could about it before I actually bought them in 2003. So my first ones I got in 2003. That was the reed eye that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, there's a fellow here in Canada. He was about an hour and a half away from me, and he was raising them. Plus, um, he had more demand than what he was able to raise. He wasn't that successful at raising them, so he was importing some,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where I got my first ones. Um, the next ones that I bought, I started expanding, and so I brought in an order from Australia. Um, and that Australian site has since closed down. Um, then I bought uh, combs. I tried combs and I wasn't successful with them, but I bought them through a store, and he brought them in for me, and I picked them up before he put them in his tanks. So it wasn't a case of being in improper setup to begin with, but I still wasn't successful with them.
Hmm.
And so then my next step was to import the reed eye from Seahorse Corral in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I imported the rectus and the dwarfs. Um, and after that, some years back here, I ordered again from Australia, from Seahorse Australia. That was the abs and the barbs that I have now.
Sure. That's not
And we,
what. Go ahead.
I had a lot of troubles over the years, and now I'm damn sure that all the troubles were my own fault.
Sure.
They weren't the fault of somebody shipping, with the exception of the combs. I have no idea why with the combs, because by the time I got the combs, I was fairly successful and wasn't having a lot of problems. But I did with the combs.
Hmm.
Now things are so simple now compared to what
Right.
I went through years ago. Especially, I can't believe how little work I have to put in for the abs.
Right. Isn't it
Up
crazy?
there at 68 degrees, like they just don't have problems. I can go a long time without water changes. Uh, I still stick to my feeding protocol with them. I feed them 4 times a day, and I feed an amount that they can eat in about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if there's any sitting on the bottom, When I go down there half an hour later, if there's any sitting on the bottom, I know I'm feeding them too much.
Right.
So that's an advantage of having the bare bottom tanks. Now, mind you, it doesn't look as nice. These tanks that I see for all these people that have all the corals and the sand beds and everything, they look great. But the thing is, at my age, I'm not prepared to do the extra work I need to do when I can make it so simple by going bare bottom.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah.
I'm probably at a point now I could put a sand bed in because of now I know what
To look
uh,
for.
I actually I know how much to feed them now,
Sure.
so I wouldn't have to worry about the sand bed getting filled up much.
Absolutely. No, and you know, there are just certain people that we owe a lot to, which you would be one of them. You, Dan, Cheryl, and all of the people who were, you know, Felicia, all the people, Tammy, who were back in the day working so hard to figure all of this stuff out. Many more people.
Our sound has gone froggy.
Our sound went foggy?
Yeah, it's gone froggy.
Huh. Everybody else, let me know if you're having froggy problems or if this is just Ray's computer. I'm not sure. I'll turn this up for a second. Check. Oh, oh, it does sound funny. Many more people.
Our sound has gone froggy.
I'm not really sure.
It's gone froggy.
Isn't it lovely how these things happen? And we were just fine a second ago.
I'm just going to mute the Hangouts for a minute here and test. If you keep talking, then
Okay.
I'll check on the others and see if there's any difference.
You know what? Another thought might be, well, I can't mute that because then you wouldn't be able to hear me. Well, honestly, guys, it's the day before Thanksgiving, so here, I know other people aren't celebrating, sorry, but if we can't figure it out, we can make it a quick one tonight. I did mention, I'm just continuing to talk because he told me to, but I did mention in the comments, guys, that I am totally interested. It still sounds froggy. We can make it a quick one tonight. I did mention. Try muting it, Ray. It's coming back. I need to talk because he told me to, but I did mention in the comments, guys, that. Can you mute it? I am totally interested. It still sounds froggy. Hey, Ray, mute YouTube, please. Try muting it, Ray. It's coming back.
Yeah, I think it's just you.
Okay, well. All right, well, okay, now it's calmed down, I guess. All right, well, guys, I'm not sure what's going on. Geez, man, we were having so many troubles. But I'm going to say, since it's, Thanksgiving tomorrow anyways, and we didn't have much contribution tonight, I'm sorry it's froggy, but I'll just say, guys, that if you have some topics that you'd like us to discuss, whether it be seahorse care or something you want to come in and discuss or something you want to learn about, I'll go find out.
I can't hear at all now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call it for tonight because I don't know what to do to fix it, and it's just silly to keep talking for no reason. So, Ray, I'm sorry again. I'll just have to call it and see you next week, okay? All right, guys. I guess no one can hear me. So, happy Wine Wednesday. Cheers.